We back. Y'all already know what time it is.
Oh, you didn't know?
50-50.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Man, y'all already know what time it is, man. It's the 50-50 Show. Man, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You know, I always got to remind y'all because sometimes y'all forget, man, but that's a great way to support us. We're going live on both our channels. Obviously, myself, PharoahNFL, my guy, the Severe Raider. If you haven't subscribed, definitely do that and hit that like button. And anybody watching the replay, I know the replay, people watch the replay sometimes, definitely do all the above, but also leave a comment. Let us know like your thoughts. If you weren't here to watch a live show, leave a comment and we'll follow up with you and we'll talk about that the Raider offseason, man, because it is upon us. And the Raiders have finally named their head coach, Clint Kubiak. It's not officially. They can't officially. Basically, you got the GM of the Seattle Seahawks pretty much, saying his goodbyes. Pretty much said that he's going to the Raiders, even though Clint Kubiak didn't want to talk about it, so people were kind of nervous, like, oh, he might change his mind. Yeah. But Mike McDonald, the head coach for the Seattle Seahawks, as well as GM John Snyder, all but confirmed it with what they were saying and the words that they were talking about, as far as just pretty much confirming that he's officially gone to the Raiders after the Super Bowl. Kubiak was just trying to be a professional, saying he's locked into the Super Bowl. I'm not going to talk about that and yada, which is fine. I can respect that. But yeah, man, I'm good with the hire, man. I'm cool with it. He was one of the top coaches that were available during this coaching cycle. Obviously, I had my favorites for, different reasons, the Mike McDaniels for, the high floor safety net, when you got the number one pick, but the Raiders identified their guy. I think this is, we'll get into that conversation in just a second, but man, the night crew, the evening crew, the swing crew. Yeah. We got every crew in the building. What's good, man? And I know we got same show, different time, man. We appreciate everybody pulling up. We got everybody pulling up. We got Mike pulling up here. Let me bring him down. All right. Well, he says, "Let's go." Yeah, chill, Ray. It's funny, man. I think this is just our signature. We just have signature things that we do on the show. From our timeliness. From from obviously the intro issues, the audio issues, but I just have time to get around with the music stuff, and we're working, and we're actually behind the scenes. We're working on some things, so be patient. Appreciate y'all, man. Hey, look, man. Hey, man, the crew just lets us know, man. The Raider crew,
appreciate y'all.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Brim in the building, man. Appreciate you pulling up. He says it was good, Raider Nation. Jim Schwartz as DC. Hey, it's a possibility. He's not happy in Cleveland because he didn't get that head coaching job. We'll talk about that. We'll see if that's really a possibility. I know Albert Breer kind of put it out there that look out for the Raiders as a possible option if he's able to get out of that Cleveland situation. If keyword if. TK, salute, my guy, man. Appreciate you pulling up. Was good. He says Jim would be fire as our DC, but he's still under contract with the Browns. Yeah, facts. That's just the bottom line. And I don't think they want to let him go. Because, he's just that good. It's kind of a chess move by the Browns because they were like, they really wanted an offensive guy, but they didn't want to lose Jim Schwartz. I think that's the situation that they're in. And they're like, you know what? We'll just be gangster. We'll just hire who we want to hire, and you're under contract, sir. You can't go anywhere. My guy, Raider Smoke, man, hey, he knows how to support the show, man. With the super chat. Was good. Salute, my guy, man. Appreciate you pulling up. Just another DJ in the building says, "Is the sun still over in sun still out over in the it's kind of down, going down.
Dusk, like dusk basically. It's
Yeah.
almost down.
Yeah. So I'm assuming DJ, you on the East Coast, Midwest. Let us know. Congrats. I know, man. We got our head coach. And look, I'll just start off by saying this because everybody's talking about everybody's talking about the Raiders head coach, right? Everybody's talking about the Raiders head coach, Clint Kubiak. They've been talking about him all playoffs. They've been talking about how he's one of the best offensive minds. He had a great year. And we had our questions because it's only been 1 year. He's only been 1 year as an offensive coordinator in 3 different places. Like he's been a 1 year wonder. I mean, he was with the Saints. He's had other positions. He's been with other teams. I think with the 49ers, he might have been there with them a little bit more than a year, but he wasn't an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I don't think he was offensive coordinator. Or it might have been the Broncos. It might have been the Broncos. He might have
Broncos as well. Same deal.
Yeah. But that being said, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not mad at it. I think to me, and I said this today or the other day, I was like, this is probably the best Raiders coaching cycle as far as their process of trying to identify their head coach. Like hands down. That I can remember. I've never seen them go about it this way, where they were so thorough in interviewing each candidate, and each candidate brought different positives, different negatives, but it was like, okay, like for example, I mentioned Mike McDaniel. There's the Davis Webbs. Then there was your guy LaFleur. Obviously Kubiak. They interviewed Jesse Minter, who was highly sought out of, one of the best defensive-minded candidates out there. They hired. Yeah. They Shoelace. What is it? Shieldhouse or Shieldhouse? I think his name is Shieldhouse. He's probably going to be. He might be the Rams' next OC. It seems like it. That would be the next.
They got another guy on their staff. I forget his name. And somebody else was bringing the dude up. He's a young brother too. I want to say it's like their. I think you want to say he was like assistant head coach. I forget his name. But I heard a lot of people in the Rams organization are high on that dude. His name escapes me right now. But so people in the chat were bringing him up, and I was looking into him because I was thinking if we end up hiring LaFleur, it was going to either be him or Shoelace as our OC. So most likely. So I was looking up that dude. I forget his name, but it's out of those two guys that'll get the promotion with the Rams, and how things have gone recently for Rams offensive coordinator. He'll be there 2 or 3 years and get a head coaching job. So. Yeah,
I know. The Sean McVay coaching tree is crazy. They get head coaching jobs, and Shanahan I think is right there, right behind him.
And they win. Yeah, it's thinking about they win. Like this, he's had 4, and the other 3 so far in their stops has been Matt LaFleur, Kevin O'Connell, and Liam Cohen. That's pretty smooth track record for those first 3. Then obviously the fourth one is Mike.
LaFleur was with Shanahan.
Yeah, he's with both. Yeah.
So he would probably be considered both coaching trees.
That's why I liked him. I'm like, bro, you get off the Shanahan tree and the McVay tree at the same time. Those are the 2 top guys in terms of the coaching trees, and you get a guy that's worked under both of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, that's a home run right there.
Yeah.
I don't know about him taking that job in Arizona. I wouldn't have did that, but power to him.
Yeah. Nah, and look, my main point is that the Raiders, I think they did a good job of like trusting the process, vetting out the process. So, like I said, I like you had your guy that you wanted for the Raiders head coaching job. Obviously, I had my guy as well, but I did like their process in trying to identify their head coach. And once they identified him, they went after him and they got him. You can make an argument that he was probably the number 1 guy.
Yeah. You probably, I would. Well, yeah. Of like
the hottest coordinator, because literally going to the Super Bowl. Usually,
exactly. The guys that were gettable for us and that were coordinators, he was the hottest for sure. for sure. Like, I don't think there's any other coordinator in the league right now that would have been like a hotter name out there. Like, in the beginning of the year, it was Brady, but his name really cooled off toward the middle and end of the year.
Yeah,
and that's right around the time Clint Kubiak started ascending. So I think just among the just strictly coordinators, not including guys that were head coaches previously, just coordinators. Yeah, he was probably the number one, like, most sought after guy.
yeah. So I have my questions, you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, like, that's the type of risk that you want to take with a first time head coach. Like, he's coordinating one of the top offenses in the NFL. He's in the Super Bowl. Like, he's a play caller. He's there's so many things.
Football family.
Yeah, and it's like he comes from that tree. If you want to include him in that Shanahan tree, so
yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
Right. So I think he had his. I don't know where you would count him, because his start as OC wasn't with Shanahan. It was with the Vikings.
It was the Vikings, yeah, under Zimmer.
I think so. I think it was the Vikings was his first time as offensive coordinator. Then he went to San Francisco after, right? I think he went to San Francisco after.
He might have went to San Francisco. I don't know if he went to San Francisco immediately after. He was with the Vikings. Did he go to San Fran? He might have went to San Fran. I know he took a job the year after the Broncos went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl with Gary Kubiak. Oh, for some reason, I always thought that was John Fox. I was tripping. So it was Gary Kubiak that was the head coach that won the Super Bowl when they beat Cam Newton. And he took a job there the year after they won, because that year, I think it was 2017, he was in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
He was Kansas as a wide receivers coach, and then he took the job with the Broncos, and then he eventually got all the way up to, I think, QB coach under Nathaniel Hackett, who was fired before the year finished for 1 year. Then I think he went to the Vikings after that. Then he went to the 49ers, and then he went to the Saints.
So look, so he got his first his coaching start with the Vikings in 2013 as a quality control coach. He was there for a couple of seasons. Then he went to Denver for 3 seasons. So he was with the team. He's been with the team for more than one season. But as an offensive coordinator is where he would have 1 year stints.
Yeah.
And with San Francisco, he wasn't even an offensive coordinator with San Francisco.
No, he was never. Remember the year that we hired Getsy? A lot of people in Raider Nation, and you one of them, you were like, Mel, we should bring in Kubiak. We should bring in Kubiak to be our OC. I remember it was 2 guys you like, and one of them we both like. We both was like, man, Zach Robinson would be cool, would be smooth. I'll take a look at that. And he went to Atlanta. And then you liked Kubiak, and then Kubiak went to New Orleans that year, and we hired Getsy. So
yeah,
my other guy was Cliff Kingsbury, and then we hired him, and then obviously that fell through. So that was my top candidate, but like, we both like Robinson. I remember you were high on Kubiak, and like, he went to the New Orleans and he did his 1 year stint, and guess what? He went to Seattle, and how many years has he been there?
Yeah. But like I said, man, he is the type of guy that you would want to take a risk with as a first-time head coach, because he kind of checks the boxes. Is like, he's had success. He's a play caller from an offensive standpoint. You got the number 1 pick. You want an offensive-minded head coach with the number 1 pick, preferably. Like, I think Jesse Minter was the other guy that they were really interested in.
Quite possibly.
I think Jesse Minter was the other guy, because my question with Jesse Minter was, what was his staff going to look like? And I'm not. The staff he's putting together with the Ravens is pretty good. I mean, he got one of the best offensive line coaches last season from Atlanta, who obviously, with Raheem Morris getting fired, he was let go with that coaching staff, and he was able to pick him up. And Dwayne Ledford, I believe. At OC, who did they get at offensive coordinator? I know defensive coordinator. They got a guy that I wanted for DC as a possible option for the Raiders. It was Anthony Weaver. He's a guy that a lot of people like.
I liked him too as a DC candidate.
Miami Dolphin defensive coordinator. A lot of people liked him. He was a candidate, and that's crazy that they were able to get him, and he necessarily wouldn't be a defensive play caller, because Jesse Minter came out and said that they brought me in here because I'm a great defensive minded coach, and part of my strengths is calling, my defensive, like, being a play caller from that side of the football. Like, so I thought that was interesting that he would go there, and he wouldn't even be like a defensive play caller. Maybe he just looked at it from an experience standpoint. You got all that talent to work with, and then, you can leverage that, possibly going somewhere else, maybe next offseason. But I thought the Raiders, and then that would have been a nice little pickup there. But, you can make an argument that maybe Kubiak probably has his eyes, I'm sure, on someone from maybe the Seattle Seahawks staff, because the Seattle Seahawks, they got a pretty good defense. There's probably some guy on that staff that's an up-and-coming guy that they can grab. Yeah. But, yeah, man, Minter was the other guy that I felt like the Raiders were probably interested in. And, like, the way he's been building out his staff makes you think, like, they got, he has vision. Because one of the things that a head coach is judged by that you have to also take into account is the staff that he puts together, in my opinion. So if he puts together a staff, are you frozen? Oh, I think Severe is frozen. But yeah, like I was saying, man, one of the biggest things that I look at for a head coach is when they put together a great staff or a good staff. And I know guys like Jim Harbaugh is pretty good at that. You see how he picked up Mike McDaniel. He picked up another defensive coordinator that's up and coming. There's coaches that know how to put together a staff, and I feel like that's something that you got to take into account for. And hopefully Kubiak will. Let me see if I can move on the screen. Oh, we lost him. Oh man, I can't, bro. The late night, y'all want the late night back? So we'll get Severe back shortly. He says you got to go back to the late night shows. I can't take no. I know, man. We used to hold down on late night shows, man, like no other. Mayberry John says, hopefully we can persuade Jim Schwartz to come take over for our opening at defensive coordinator. I guess it's a good segue because we're talking about building out a good staff. You with me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. So I don't know what the last thing that you heard, but I was saying that like one of the best things that a head coach you judge a good head coach by is the staff that he puts together. And like Jesse Minter, to me, he's done a great job so far. Hopefully Kubiak can do the same. But he is late in the process. But that being said, people in the chat, they want to talk about this. And obviously Raider Nation is probably looking at like, when you hire an offensive head coach, one of the big hires is obviously defensive coordinator. So do you think that Jim Schwartz is a possibility? Do you think, first, let's start off that. Like, what do you think of Jim Schwartz as a DC?
Jim Schwartz is fantastic. Fantastic defensive coordinator. I mean, he was so good as a defense. He's one of the few defensive coordinators that was good enough to earn a job as a head coach. So that lets you know the caliber of defensive coordinator that he is. That being said, we have in my opinion, very, very minimal chance of getting him over here. I know right now it's, there's raw emotions. There's an open wound over there. So, right. It's right now. So the Raiders are trying to pounce on it. They that dude that, hey, they see a girl crying. Oh, they come over there, put their arm around. Oh, you good? Oh, you and your dude are doing good right now? Oh, what's happening? Like, that's what we doing right now. But there's absolutely no reason for Jim Schwartz to leave the Cleveland Browns organization at this point, from a talent standpoint, from just like a familiarity standpoint for what he's been able to do with that defense, being able to work with the greatest defensive player of this generation right now in Myles Garrett. Then you got the defensive rookie of the year over there in Carson Schlesinger. Then you got Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah coming back, who was also a fantastic linebacker. So he missed all of last year. So if you're able to pair him and Schlesinger, you got a dynamic linebacking core. Then you got a top 5 to 10 corner in Denzel Ward. Then you got Grant Delpit on the there's no reason for him to leave that team and come over here. I know it sounds good because that, like I said, there's some hurt feelings right now. There's some raw emotions, and I'm sure his agent is pulling stuff out there to kind of put put the fear of God into the Cleveland Brown organization. But if you ask me, is that a realistic option? I do not think it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think that it's a realistic. I don't think it's a realistic option. Obviously, it would be a home run hire. 100%, I agree. But from the beginning, I didn't look at it as realistic, just because I thought there was probably better situations for him to go to. But what happened was some of those situations, they hired defensive coordinators like San Francisco, the 49ers. That was a possibility. I know a lot of people were talking about that maybe being a possibility for him. They went ahead and they hired a DC. And then you got some other people who filled the position, like the Ravens. So Jim Schwartz, his options are kind of dwindling. And it's like, all right, from his perspective, he wants to leave Cleveland because he didn't get the head coaching job. That's why he wants to leave Cleveland. He's like, man, you know what? He's disappointed that he didn't get that job. So he's like, all right, let me go somewhere else, and I'll leverage where he goes. He'll leverage that into another head coaching job instead of staying with the Browns. But the thing is that if he goes to the Raiders, if we being realistic, you know how we like to keep it real on the 50-50 show, how we like to keep it real on all our shows. We like to keep it realistic with the team, whether people like it or not. The Raiders don't have the talent for him to hit the ground running. Mind you, the type of defense that he wants to run, he wants to get after it with a front four, and then play man-to-man defense.
Exactly.
Do we even have the personnel to do that? Maybe Darian Porter, I maybe could see him being like good in a man-to-man type defense, but then it's like, then you got like Max Crosby, and then it's like, it's a lot of questions. You know what I mean? A lot of questions on that defense. You don't know who's coming back next year. You don't know who's going to be the starting D-line. You don't even know that. So, and you don't know how effective they're going to be. So my point is that I'm not saying that it can't be good. It's just that he's going to have to look at the Raiders as a project that he's going to have to develop. And I'm not sure he wants to take a step back.
Yeah.
I think if worse comes to worse, I think he'll look at it from a perspective like, I'd rather just stay with the Browns and then try to leverage, maybe finish out his contract, or, go somewhere else next coaching cycle. That's just my thing. Yeah. I don't look at the Raiders as a situation where it's highly attractive to a defensive coordinator who's trying to become a head coach. He's trying to become a head coach. And all he has to do is like, all right, wasn't there a defensive coordinator that wanted to become a head coach? Whatever happened to him?
Yeah.
Patrick Graham wanted to become a head coach.
Exactly.
And he gambled and stayed with the Raiders for the last few seasons. And you see where that got him,
Wrapped out. So
he
went to go join
the Steelers.
Coach.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm curious to see what Patrick Graham does with the Steelers too, by the way, which I would think is probably a more talented football team, a defense that got way more invested, way more money invested than the Raiders are on their side of the ball, outside of Max, like, and a couple guys, maybe not just Max, to be honest with you, as far as money. But yeah, I just don't see it as a realistic option. But if it happens, home run hire, former head coach, at defensive coordinator, you got a first-time head coach. That's a great combination.
Exactly.
Great combination.
That's what will make this fantastic, is because you got obviously a first-time head coach. You got a guy that's been a head coach before. He can act as a sounding board. The fact that they're on opposite sides of the ball, it doesn't create a situation where they're like butting heads with each other. I think at that point, Clint Kubiak will allow Jim Schwartz to run the defense that Jim Schwartz wants to run. So I think that would be just a great combination, a great duo to go forward. Obviously, we know what Jim Schwartz brings to the table in terms of defense. We also know what he brings to the table in terms of offense. You can ask Harbaugh about that, right? He knows all about the offense that Jim Schwartz brings to the table. So yeah, he knows that quite well. So, I think it works out for everybody.
No, facts, 100%. Salute to everybody pulling up. Mayberry John says Rob Leonard instead. I think that could be a possibility, but I think he's still under contract.
Yeah.
As a D-line coach. Yeah. So if there's someone that Kubiak wants to bring on, instead of Robbie Leonard, he could still keep Leonard as a D-line coach, or he could, promote him, but that's really up to Kubiak, which is, like I said, man, as much as the head coach is an important hire, the staff hires are important too as well. So the Raiders are kind of running a little bit behind, but they got their guy. Hopefully they'll continue to make some good hires. A guy that's connected to the Raiders for offensive coordinator, but he's followed him around everywhere he's went, is Benton. He's the offensive line coach, which, hey, a lot of people have a lot of good things to say about him as a teacher of the offensive line. Like they feel like he would be great for a young group, which the Raiders have, and he'll help with development, which is night and day from what the Raiders had last year. A guy that like no one would even consider as an offensive line coach, to now we got someone that's actually respected, and so that's going to be interesting to see if that comes together. Is I don't know if you heard about Benton being a possibility, not as an offensive line coach, but an OC.
I have not. I mean, the name I've heard bounced around is the quarterbacks coach there in Seattle, whose name escapes me right now. I've heard his name. That's the name I've heard the most. I think that's the guy that's been with him the last few stops as well. So I've heard that's a guy that could garner some interest. But we won't be able to make either hire until after the Super Bowl. Yeah.
There's another guy that I wanted the Raiders to get as a QB coach, and he was like the QB coach for Indiana, and he ended up going to the Bucks. The Bucks actually hired him, so he was Indiana's co-offensive coordinator, co-QB coach. They hired him as a QB coach in Tampa Bay. Smart hire, really good hire.
Is it Whitmer?
Yes, yeah.
Whitmer?
Yeah. I wanted the Raiders to hire him as a possible QB coach, but it is what it is. We'll see what Kubiak does. He can't really do anything until after the Super Bowl, so we're just talking about it, because that's what Raider Nation is talking about now that they got their head coach. They want to see the top names. They want to see the best guys going there. So we all know that's a big deal, not just because we want to see the Raiders win, but also because, man, we want to have good coaching so we can see these players get developed right.
Exactly.
You drafting all these young players, and if you want them to develop and hit their potential, you got to have the right teachers, the right people to coach them to hit their potential. So
exactly. Especially after you trade Max Crosby for these picks.
Well, it's hella funny that people they're talking about it too. That's hella. It's funny, man. It's funny because we talked about it. I know I was like on this during the season, and I was called like, oh man, are you a Raider fan? Like, what are you saying? Like, Max is a Raider, he doesn't want to leave. Stop pushing this narrative and da 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 da. But guess what people are talking about? It's not just me. It's not just me. It's people in the media. It's former players. It's like they can see through the situation. They're like, man, the Raiders are kind of going about it like we're going not in a bad direction. It's just, what's the Raiders' timeline? The timeline is like, maybe 3 years away. Hopefully they can be competitive next season.
Definitely.
But
it's not likely, So it's like,
nah, not at all.
And in 3 years, Max Crosby is 33. You got to make a decision on another contract for him at that point.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense, man. It just doesn't make sense. If you plan on drafting Fernando Mendoza number 1 overall, build a team around that dude. Yeah,
no, facts. So what do you think? What do you think this is? How is this going to impact the draft strategy? Like, what do you think the plan is moving forward? Now you got Clint Kubiak as a head coach. We kind of know who the first overall pick is going to be. Like, we'll be honest. Like, it's going to be Mendoza. What do you think they're going to go? How they're going to go about it this offseason? Like, are they going to aggressively upgrade the trenches? Are they going to aggressively upgrade the defense in free agency? Like, what? And then, like, is it going to be the draft? Like, how are they going to go about it? Because now we know who the head coach is, so we can have an idea of, like, you kind of implied Max being traded, so maybe that's one part of it. But what's the other part?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Mendoza is the odds-on favorite to be the number 1 overall pick for the Raiders. I was hearing rumors that the Jets are aggressively pursuing a trade with the Raiders. So if they're aggressively pursuing a trade for the number 1 overall pick, I am all ears. I'm all what y'all offering? What is on the table? What is in these negotiations? How much are you willing to give up to get? This is the best quarterback prospect you've ever seen in your life. Like, how much y'all willing to give me for him? You know, so that's for obviously you have to determine that. I don't think Clint Kubiak takes the job if he didn't have belief that Fernando Mendoza could be a successful quarterback in the NFL. So obviously the Raiders are more than comfortable making the selection at number 1 overall. But as I said, it would be malpractice for you not to at least listen to these offers, because one can knock your socks off and you're like, look, like we got to do this. We'd be fools not to take this deal. So, but obviously, if you roll with Mendoza, then offensive line. Think about a very important piece to their team, a guy who has helped tremendously everybody. Really offensively is Gray Zabel, a guard. Rookie guard this year. So he's a guy that, helped transform the run game. Obviously, pass rotation has been phenomenal. You heard Leonard Williams, Big Cat Williams, talk about he was coaching him up like, yo, man, why are you doing this? Like when they're double teaming you, or like, he gave him some pointers like, bro, you should do this. And then Big Cat listened to him, and it led to a sack, I want to say, or it led to a pressure and an interception, something like that. So he's a guy that's made an impact on the team, and I think the team officials knowing how big of an impact an interior offensive line like that was able to make in Seattle. Obviously, the Raiders will probably do similar and make some similar investments along the offensive line, especially since we know Kubiak likes to run the ball. We made a massive investment, overpaid last year for a running back. So now you have to do everything you can to squeeze as much value out of that pick as you can. And I still think that we, at some point in the draft, we get a complimentary back. That's kind of what he did this year with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker III. Kenneth Walker III this year had the best season he's had since he was a rookie. I think his rookie season was still a little bit more productive. The last 2 years, he's been banged up and not as productive. This year, it was a little bit more of a tandem. You bring in Clint Kubiak, and he has his best year. So I think that's the direction we'll lean as well.
Yeah, no, facts. It's funny because you brought up Greg Zabel, and I remember that clip of him pointing out something to Leonard Williams. And it was funny because I was talking to someone who I think interned for the 49ers, and they were like, this is early 2000, and then this is when analytics was still new and brand new, and they were trying to correlate what the Wonderlic test score and how that would affect future just future the fact they if players had success in the league, right? They were looking at not just quarterbacks, but they were saying that so he said surprisingly what was interesting is the offensive line.
Usually higher. Yeah, they usually have higher Wonderlic.
Yeah, the offensive line, they were geniuses. They were really smart dudes. So it's funny that Zabel was out there literally coaching up a Leonard Williams who's been in the league for how many years? A rookie player just comes, hey man, what are you doing? He noticed something a part of the game is just man, that's crazy. Do I think the Raiders need some help in offensive line? Facts. And just to answer the question that I posed to you about what the Raiders should do this offseason now that they got their head coach, what's the plan of attack? And it's we kind of talked about it, but aggressively upgrade the offensive line in free agency.
Yeah.
Get the best guys. Try you got the second most cap space, might be number one by around free agency rolls around, depending on if the cap goes up and guys get released and things like that. They need to aggressively upgrade the offensive line. And then obviously they're gonna have to fill the roster because there's a plenty of free agents on defense and everywhere else. Not everything can be solved in one offseason, but when you got an incoming rookie quarterback, you don't want to throw him to the wolves. You don't want to have him become David Carr his first year in the league where he had like 70-something sacks and the rest is history. So you got to make sure you got to invest in that offensive line. Obviously, we talked about the Max Crosby trade being a possibility. I don't think they trade out of number 1, so I'm not even going to talk about it like that. I think the Max Crosby is more realistic, in my opinion, just because of like you can make a valid argument for why you should trade him and why it would make sense for both people involved. And then they can grab a guard with that second first-round pick. They can get the best offensive lineman or best tackle, best offensive guard, or best whoever, you know what I mean? Or best receiver.
Yeah.
You know, a guy that you like that we've talked about before is that Boston kid from Washington.
Denzel Boston. Yeah.
Denzel Boston.
Yeah, he's a guy, you put me up on him.
He's nice. He's nice. And then when you, but it's not even just that. It's just when you see Mendoza play with like big body receiver, he knows how to put the ball in the right place for guys to go up and get it. And he has good chemistry with Surratt. Let's just get that out there. That's just really good chemistry. But I'm just saying, like, I can see like a Boston and Mendoza like meshing well. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and this isn't necessarily a knock on Mendoza because I think this holds true for just about every player. I think Mendoza, his floor and his ceiling is going to be very dependent upon the kind of team we build around him. You know, this is like, yes, salute to my guy Rundown. Like I think he's going to be very, it's going to be very dependent upon the supporting cast he has, because I think he thrives in a certain type of system with a certain type of player. And I think if we try to force him into something that doesn't fit his strengths, like with any player, like it'll be a fool's errand. And at that point, like, you're wasting the number 1 overall pick. So we seen where he had some success at Cal, and he was a good player there, but he was a great player at Indiana. And you saw the recipe there was protect him, run the football, and let him throw outside the hashes to big body receivers, whether it's deep outs, deep curls, back shoulder throws, and 50-50 passes, right? Like, that's where he had it. So hey, well, we got a running back we drafted last year. Let's make some investments in offensive linemen. Let's get him some big body receivers that can play that kind of game. Ideally, ironically, Jacoby Myers would have been a guy that would have been great working with him. I think Jack Besh, is a guy that will work well with him. I think he's a guy that, kind of understands positioning. I think he can play the back shoulder game. I think he can run the deep outs and all that stuff. DeAndre Thornton, kind of worried about that. Trey Tucker, hey bro, you might as well pack your bags, man. So like I don't know how well those guys will work with them. So, but we got some picks. And if we make the Max trade, that gives us just more ammunition to do what we know we need to do, which is support your franchise quarterback.
Nah, facts, 100%, man. If you haven't already, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Man, it's a great show, man. Great conversation, man. Raiders finally got the head coach. We've been waiting for it, man. We've been waiting for this, man, for a minute. I guess it's that time, man. It's that time, man. You already know what time it is, man. It's flag on the play.
69, offense. He was giving them the business.
So what we got this week, Severe, man? What's the flag on? And just for FYI, for anybody just joining us, flag on the play is anything we have an issue with in the NFL, in sports, in whatever. We'll just talk about it. But this week, what's the flag on the play?
So the flag on the play comes from Minnesota. Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, they just recently fired their GM. And one of the things that came out was that part of the reason why he got fired was because he was so staunch in his support of J.J. McCarthy and basically insistent somehow this GM made, one of the best coaches in the NFL start this rookie quarterback. And obviously J.J. McCarthy struggled mightily and ended up costing the GM his job. And the narrative out there was that, he was the only guy in the building that was really supporting J.J. McCarthy. I think there were some things that came to light recently that kind of paints that in a different light.
Yeah, facts, 100%. I look, my issue with the whole situation is that, like, we all know what's happening here. The GM is becoming a scapegoat because Sam Darnold obviously is in the Super Bowl. The timing of it is crazy. Like, as soon as they Seahawks in the Super Bowl, it's time to fire you.
Yes.
It's almost like the owner told himself, like, hey, if they make the Super Bowl, then I'm gonna have to fire you.
I gotta fire you.
I gotta fire you. And I think it was one of those situations where they looked at Kevin O'Connell too, and they're like, man, we kind of like him as a coach and a play caller, even though I'm sure they probably looked at him and was like, this was your guy.
Exactly.
This was your guy. And I seen those reports saying that Kevin O'Connell was against losing Darnold. But when they asked him a question, I think after the playoffs, when Darnold didn't have the greatest playoffs or finished to this, the season, he was non-committal. He was just like, hey, it's almost like he was all in on McCarthy coming back, and maybe that was just him trying to, like, be the messenger. You can make an argument there too. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at Kevin O'Connell because it's like he's looking funny now. Because isn't he the guy that said, quarterbacks don't fail, organization fail the quarterback? Something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but he just talked about how he went on this whole spiel about, like, how the organization, they are the reason why a lot of these quarterbacks, don't really reach their full potential because there's so many different aspects. And I kind of agree with him for a certain extent, but it's just crazy that this is all playing out right now.
Yeah.
A guy that they drafted in the top 10 or right around the top 10.
Yeah. And
now, like, the GM is looked at as a scapegoat because Darnold's in the Super Bowl, and now McCarthy, everybody's looking at McCarthy is like, is he bust? Is he a bust? Is he really that good? Like, I don't know if he's gonna, and it'd be funny too, be ironic is that what happens if he has the Darnold career path? A lot of these quarterbacks are becoming better later on in their careers because when they go through these growing pains of, like, another reason why maybe some people would like Mendoza because he might be ready to go, or you could project him to play well early on and develop him instead of like the boomer bust picks. But that's a whole different conversation. But my point is that flag on a play on Kevin O'Connell because I think some of the stuff that was coming out might have been from his agent trying to make him look good. And then like I said, the comments that he made before about organization failing, he's now part of the problem. If he doesn't make it work with McCarthy, then he's going to be part of the problem.
Exactly. Look, and what's even bigger flag on the play is that there were reports, and I don't know how true these reports were, and if they are true, this is flag on the play on SpyTech, that the Raiders were very close to consummating the trade that would have brought over J.J. McCarthy. And if you thought I was mad at the Pete Carroll hire, at the Aston Genty draft, like, if you thought I was mad at that, bro, if we would have traded for J.J. McCarthy, oh my God, damn, I would have been apoplectic.
That would have been crazy. I wonder, we would have been asking. Yeah, that would have just. I think Pete Carroll would have had to co-sign that, and Brady too. Brady would have had to co-sign that. Brady would have to co-sign it.
But where did J.J. McCarthy go to school?
Michigan.
Where did Brady go to school?
Yep.
Where did SpyTech go to school?
Yeah. But damn, why does that even matter?
Why does
that even, who cares?
Like the old saying goes, people like them. So he's a Michigan man. They know him. Oh, I know JJ. He's a good kid. Oh, it's a hard worker. All he does is win. Remember that was ironically, I ain't gonna go there, but that was the JJ. All he does is win. See what that Michigan team did? All they did was win. They obliterated everybody they played. All he did was win. Look, see this guy's third down efficiency. He doesn't throw the ball a lot. When they asked him to throw the ball, oh man, he's efficient. He is efficient. That's the same. That's all. That's what they said about J.J. McCarthy. And so, people would start buying into that. Like, look at him. All he does is win. He's a starter. I don't think he lost a start as when he was a starter this past year. Won a natty, like, man, this kid is a winner. And then you buy into that narrative, and then you draft him and you realize, like, well, damn, man, like, this kid just had a whole bunch of talent around him, and he was basically being carried by the running game, by a defense, and by, one of the best coaches in college football at that time. So, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Well,
they're good parallels.
Well, let me say this. It depends on what the trade would have been for.
It would have been at least a first. It had to be a first.
Oh, if it was first round.
Had to be a first. Had to be a first.
You should be fired right on the spot. You'd be like, oh, you're fired.
On the spot, bro. Bro. If you hire Pete Carroll and then trade for J.J. McCarthy, bro, you should never be allowed in the NFL building again, man. You can't even watch the game in the stadium.
Oh man, nah, you got fired right on the spot.
Only watch the game on YouTube.
But if it was like for a third or like fourth, but damn, that would have been an ugly look for the Vikings. But I wouldn't have been mad at it. I'd have been like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if it was like something like that, a third.
But a second or first would have been ugly. It would have been ugly.
Second or first,
yeah, it would have been ugly.
Third, I could live with the third. It's like you betting on potential. You're already coming off an injury though. It's like but
yeah,
nah.
Yeah, and the Raiders already had a third round pick. I mean, it would have been nice to have both, but they had more wiggle room to make a trade like that.
I know if we traded for J.J. McCarthy and we didn't get Charles Trent Williams Grant on his team, I would have been hot.
Nah, facts, man. Hey, man, if you got already, make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. So we got a notable quotable. This is where we pivot and we go to notable quotables. And what's the notable quotable this week, Severe?
Yes, sir. We've been getting a lot of heat and a lot of flack from this guy, but this week he showed us some love. Both these guys actually, just John Middlecoff and Colin Cowherd. They were talking about the hire of Clint Kubiak, and they also touched on a topic that we've touched on as well.
All these coaching hires that we're going to look up in 4 years and go,
wow,
that worked out better than I thought. And mine is Clint Kubiak. This league is about GM, owner, quarterback, offensive weapons. Kubiak, Brock Bowers, Fernando Mendoza, Spytek, Ashton Genty.
Here's the other thing they have. They can dangle Matt Crosby and get a ton and really start over. You get Kubiak and Spytek going, hey, Tom, let's look this from a macro, big picture view and think about 2028. And that they have a very powerful asset in Crosby. I think they could get a haul for him and truly just restart this organization moving forward.
Nah, facts, man. Like we said earlier, man. The Raiders could get a haul, and what a haul looks like, that's what a haul looks like, man. That means a couple of first round picks, maybe more, and some change. And that's what the Raiders need. We need to build this roster. We need to build the talent on this team. And the thing about football, I wish that it took one player.
Yeah.
I wish it took just one great player and you're good.
This ain't basketball.
You can't even say that for a quarterback. Oh, you have a great quarterback. We see that. Look at Joe Burrow. Look at Burrow.
Pat Mahomes last year. The best of this era. And they out the playoffs.
Exactly. So it takes more than one guy to win a football team or to win. Now, are the Bengals going to trade Joe Burrow? Are the Bengals going to trade Mahomes? No. But with the Raiders situation, you got a guy that's 28. He's in the prime of his career, and the Raiders are obviously headed toward a rebuild. They're going to draft a quarterback. Max is going to have his how many different coaches now at this point. So even from Max's perspective, he's like, again.
Yeah.
Different year, same story. Again.
Another one.
Another one. I need to get that soundbite. Another one.
Another one.
But I don't want to keep like hammering this point. I kind of like stopped talking about it, but like it's just funny that like the media and everybody's been talking about it every now and then when they're talking about the Raiders. They look at the team, they're like, man, like this team needs some talent. And they look at the great players that's on the team. There's really only one. He's in his prime. Oh, by the time the Raiders are actually a good team, he might be at the end of his prime. They put 2 and 2 together. Just simple math. You know, it is what it is. But they did praise Kubiak. Hey, if Kubiak is one of the next great head coach, offensive-minded head coach, you know, you got the McVays, you got the Shanahan, and that now the Kubiak's gonna be a coaching tree. I hope, man. I hope he's one of those guys. And I know you were saying something about, and we talked about it, like, is he a leader of men? And I know his press conference are very, like, you know, low key. But I seen a clip, and I think I might have sent it to you, where, you know, it was like not behind the scenes footage where he was, like, you know, on the practice field. He looked a little bit more.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Like,
he didn't. When I seen it, I was like, oh, okay. He's not awkward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's communicating. He's talking. He's like, he got a presence about him. Like, it wasn't like it. At first, I was concerned a little. I was like, man, I don't know. He's very low key in his pressures, but, you know, he's the offensive coordinator. He's not the head coach at the end of the day. But
exactly. And that anytime it's something like that, like, I don't trust it. Anytime it's something like that where it's like the guy's mic'd up, you can't, you know, like, you already know they've had a conversation with people. Oh, man, look, hey, Clint, today you mic'd up, man. Hey, you got to make us look good. Go out there, put on a show, entertain the people.
yeah,
You know that, and that's what all that stuff is manufactured. It's like, you know, anytime if you ever worked at a job and you knew your boss was gonna be coming to your department, okay, yeah, man, my department better look good today. I did this. I done swept and I done wiped everything down, and, you know,
Yeah.
the boss coming to your cubicle organized. You see, you sitting up, you walk over. Hi, Mr. Rich. Oh, I didn't know you were coming today. Oh, leave my work notes to the side. That's my next 3 weeks of work notes. Just move those on over and go ahead and have it. Like, you know, like, you put on an extra show, and that's all that is to me, bro. Because when are you more at ease, or when should you be more free in yourself than when you're, like, getting up there talking about your job? Like, that's the time he looks the most nervous and unsure. And it's not necessarily like people are, oh, he just talks monotone, or it's not just about being monotone. It's that I don't sense that there's any type of command there. Like, and you have to have, when you're a leader, you have to have a presence. And that's something, like, you know, like, no matter, all the leaders, they have a presence about them. It doesn't necessarily be what they say or how they say it. It's just that there's a
Shanahan?
Shanahan? Je ne sais quoi. Shanahan is bro. I watched Shanahan back to, because I thought people kept bringing up Shanahan. So I watched Shanahan all the way back to Atlanta, bro. It's not even close. Shanahan way more command, way more of a presence than Kubiak is. And you get to San Francisco, it just blows them out the water. But even back in Atlanta, I was watching, you know, with who was the coach down there? It wasn't Dan Quinn. It was the older guy. I forgot. But I was watching their press conferences, and it wasn't even close.
Duval.
Yeah. But
Liam Cohen.
You watched Liam Cohen with the Jaguars, and people brought up him. I watched him when he was with the Bucks. I watched Ben Johnson when he was with the Lions, when they were offensive coordinators. Both of those guys show way more presence and way more command of the room.
I don't know. I remember when I heard Ben Johnson's first pressure with the Bears, I was like,
as a head coach. Those were nerves. That was an introductory press conference with him as a head coach, in front of, you know, with his first head coaching opportunity, with, you know, in front of new media that he's never met before. That's a different situation. Watch Ben Johnson with the Detroit media. It's night and day. Watch Liam Cohen with the Jacksonville media. It's night and day. Watch him when he was with the Rams. No.
Liam Cohen with obviously he's settled in. You know what I mean? So you could see him as a head coach and the way he communicates. You could see he's good at what he does. But what I'm saying is that, like, were you watching Liam Cohen with the Bucks?
Yeah, that's what I said. Jags. I meant with the Bucks, but with the Bucks and with the Rams, it's different. It's different. Like, look, you watch it. You don't gotta take my word for it. Everybody out there, watch it for yourself, and you be the judge for yourselves. I've already said to some people who I've told the same thing to go watch it. Maybe I was coming into it with preconceived notions, and I'm letting that bias paint my perception of it. That's a possibility, and I'm open to that possibility of being wrong. But everything I've seen, his demeanor and his presence is not on the level of those guys.
Bill Belichick.
That's the same thing. I'm not. So people are, oh, it's monotone. It's not. Belichick still had a presence. You knew when Belichick was at the podium, you knew who was in charge. It wasn't a question of he feels intimidated or he's off guard, or you knew who was running the show. It was Belichick.
I'm just saying the reason why I bring up Bill Belichick is the fact that like his pressers are like, yeah,
they're monotone.
Yeah, it's monotone.
Yeah, but I'm not looking at like the boringness of it. The boringness of, like, I don't care about that.
But how is he with the
boring,
team though?
Monotone.
That's what I'm like when I see him on the field with the players. I'm like, oh, okay. And the thing is, at the end of the day, like, I don't want to nitpick or anything like that, and I know you're not trying to nitpick, but it's just like I think that it gives me hope when I seen that clip of him like just communicating with the players on the football field, on the practice field, the way he was going about it. It wasn't like he had some presence to him. Like he was vocal. He wasn't like that the same guy that he was in the presser. So some guys are really good in the presser.
Let me ask you this: when you saw mic'd up moments of Josh McDaniels, what did that look like to you? It looked like he was a guy that was involved and he was joking with the team. My point exactly, but that's all rehearsed and manufactured.
Hey, man. Look, man. You said a name that shall not be named, but you can't bring that name over here, man. Like you're trying to imply like great OC but not good head coach.
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying that those moments are manufactured. I don't like. We don't know what Clint Kubiak is going to be as a head coach.
Right.
He could be the greatest head coach of all time. Like, we don't know what he's going to be yet. But I'm just saying, like, I'm reading other things. I'm reading between the lines, and I'm not going to rather than a few moments where it's okay, bam, you're going to be on camera. You're going to be in camera. This is bam, like you just rehearsed. Like Josh McDaniels. Like you can watch the Raiders stuff when he's out there on the practice field and he's joking with Devontae and like out there, like, oh, you think, oh, damn, everything is good. These guys love each other. Like, he's great with the team.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
And I think just because these rehearsed moments, they don't paint the full picture.
Well, he spent some time with Mike McDaniel and his coaching staff. I'm sure like that experience kind of taught him well. A young coach, kind of similar situation as him, was a highly sought out coordinator. First time head coach last year, and how he was able to handle himself. He was with them in his second season, and now they're in the Super Bowl. So he's able to probably learn and get information from this young coach just like himself, and maybe he could, put his spin to it and do what he needs to do with the Raiders. And at the end of the day, too, I'm not looking for Clint Kubiak to like turn it around in 1 year. Like if the Raiders win like 6 games next year, I'm not throwing a book at Kubiak. Like, you know what I mean? Like if we're being honest, like come on, bro. Like.
But that's the trajectory though. Like I don't think it would be unfair to expect that, and that's kind of what we did with the past few coaches, where we put these lofty expectations on them. Like I'm not expecting that from Kubiak. If he does it next year, that's just a cherry on top. But I'm expecting 5-6 wins. I'm expecting Mendoza to play really good in some games and to throw multiple interceptions or fumble multiple times in others. Like that's what's going to come. Like that's what's just going to happen when you got a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach going into a tough division. You kind of expect those things. And quarterback, that's a difficult position to transition, right? It's not like a defensive end. Usually defensive ends, they transition from the court, from college to the pros. They transition pretty well, right? Running backs, another position, they transition pretty well. I think safeties, a lot of times, recently safeties have been transitioning pretty well. Like corners, a lot of times corners can struggle early on. Wide receivers, a lot of times they can struggle early on. Offensive linemen, depending on what kind of system you ran in college, those guys can struggle early on as well. So a lot of times those guys need to build more strength. But like linebackers and defensive ends, pass rushers, those guys usually transition well. Running backs the same way. Like quarterback is the opposite. It depends. You can hit the ground running or you can struggle. So I think we got to give these guys time. But that's why I'm glad all the Raider Nation was behind Clint Kubiak, because they'll afford him a leeway that they wouldn't afford somebody. Like if we had hired a Jiro Evero, oh, bro, if he loses 2 games in a row, they ready to fire him. I told you we shouldn't have hired this guy. But now if it's Clint, I'll be okay. Hey, it's gonna take some time. We don't have the talent. Yada yada yada.
Well, look at how this offseason started. It started with the firing of Pete Carroll and Spy Tech coming out with his presser and him talking about, you know, how when asked about the next head coach and what they're looking for, and hey, they're not looking for him to just hit the ground running. Like we're trying to build this thing the right way. That's the key phrase that we're trying to build this the right way. So if they don't win a lot of games or they don't win right away, it's not going to be an indictment on the coach or whatever. We're looking at the process, and so they're looking at it long term. So I don't think, and I think what they're trying to do is what Spytek at least is trying to do. He's trying to set expectations. So when Kubiak comes in the building, I'm sure he's probably going to do the same. We're going to try to put our heads down, focus on one game at a time, focus on one practice. They're going to have all the cliche phrases or whatever. But expectations, I don't think are going to be like, oh, we're going to. Now, if they surprise us, if like they hit the ground running, cool. But my expectations for them not to win like more than 6 games. But I do want to see this. I want to see the offensive line better. You know what I mean? I want to see the offensive line way better than what we've seen in years past. I want to see Genty to continue to get better. I want to see, Brock Bowers continue to get the football. I want to see certain things that will give me hope that there's something here. If like it's completely terrible, I'm not gonna say fire Kubiak, but I will be concerned though. If some of these guys, like if let's say Brock has his worst season as a pro, like I'll be like, damn, like you made Brock Bowers look trash. Like I would be concerned, like Brock Bowers is he's supposed to be offensive proof. Like he's a guy that will get open no matter what offense you put him in.
Outside of injury, there's nothing you could do to stop him.
Exactly. It's going to be, for me, it's just another year for development, and hopefully we get the young players, we get them going. Because at the end of the day, they have a rookie quarterback. It's going to be peaks and valleys through the season. We'll see what Mendoza does next year. But, for me, it's like, look, a lot of the people who are big Carr fans for years, for the Raider fans, y'all, 2014 was a very, okay, like it was okay season. It was a solid rookie season, but it wasn't like spectacular enough to at least win games and be competitive and go to the playoffs. But that second year, they won 7-9. They went 4-12 or 3-13 that first year. Second year, 7-9 with Jack Del Rio at head coach. And in that third year, we all know that 2016. So I'm looking for a progression. Can they be ahead of the curve? Cool. I think everybody's like, oh yeah, like they gotta do it right away. And I think, and I know a lot of people are looking at like what Coach Cignetti's doing, and some of these coaches, like Mike McDonald, not gonna lie, like he's setting the standard really high. But I don't know, man.
Liam Cohen.
Liam Cohen, I know. They're
Vrabel, another guy. Vrabel and McDonald both setting the standard.
Well, let me ask you this real quick before we go to what's real, what's not. Do you think that changes your view on the timeline on how long it should take for a team to have some success on a football field? Like, should it happen year 1 or year 2? Or are you going to be like more patient where you be like, you know what? As long as I see a 3-year, like it should be at least like at max 3 years, and there should be at least a progression.
No, because I think a lot of the infrastructure of those teams was somewhat built, and they just need some finishing touches. Obviously, the Jaguars needed a head coach to kind of come in and unlock Trevor Lawrence. I won't get into it, but Trevor Lawrence was a phenomenal draft prospect coming into the NFL draft, right? Everybody thought he was basically a can't miss, right? One of the best prospects, probably the best prospect they had seen since Andrew Luck. So it just took some time for somebody to unlock him. Obviously, Liam Cohen getting there, and then whatever the hell happened when Jacoby got there, it just lit a fire into that team, and they won I don't know how many games in a row. So I think that was a big part of it. And then he already had some pieces defensively, so it was just really just bringing along, just unlocking Trevor Lawrence. Same thing with Drake May, right? Like we heard Josh McDaniels make the comment before, he could take a high school quarterback and turn him into a Pro Bowler. I think it's a lot easier to mold a young guy, who isn't already set in their ways. So you get your hands on a Drake May, who was one of the more talented prospects in last year's QB class. and you pair him with, Mike Vrabel, who got that defense playing well. And defense was already had a nice infrastructure there, built under Belichick and even Gerard Mayo. But they had Christian Gonzalez there. They had Barmore there already. I know Barmore had like a lot of injuries last year, so that kind of affected the team. And then you add in Spillane, bring over Chase on, who was a revelation. Then Milton Williams, who was a fantastic pass rusher in the interior. Then Josh McDaniels revitalizes Stephon Diggs' career. And then you add the best rookie running back in the entire draft class in Travion Henderson. Boom. And then obviously the Ramondre Stevenson, was already considered a good back. He just got even better, especially in a tandem system where he's not the sole guy that's having to do all the heavy lifting. I think that tandem brought out the best of both guys, and we see the results. So I just think that it's those guys. They had a lot more in place than we do. We have a tight end. We have a tight end. We hope we have a running back, and then we'd have much.
We got a running back. We got a running back.
We hope we got a running back. We'll see.
We got a running back, man. We got a running back. We got a running back. We got a running back.
We hope we have a running back. Remains to be seen. I think he's a good player.
Yeah. But, so we got a running back though. We got a running back. I mean, if you want to argue like how good, where he stacks up, that's a whole different conversation. Okay, like that's you can have that conversation. He's still a player that's still needs to show more, and we'll get better. You know what I mean? But we got to see that. But we got a running back. Running back should not be a position the Raiders should be looking to upgrade. Like, we got a running back.
Well, not upgrade. They just need to add to the room, for sure.
Yeah, there's nobody outside of Genty.
Yeah, everybody else should be gone.
Yeah.
Already. They should have been gone, like, after week 18. Like, they should have a nice little, like, care package in their lockers. Appreciate your time here. And then everybody else get up out of there.
Yeah. So, look, I'm not going to lie. The Patriots, I would have never thought they would win the Super Bowl. Never thought. I'm sorry, bro. I can't. I know you outlined all the moves that worked out for them. So that's what Raider fans or some people could say, like, well, the Raiders have like Ashton Genty, they got Brock Bowers. If they aggressively upgrade the offensive line, they get Mendoza in the building, and you have Kubiak in there. If he hits the ground running as a play caller, as an offense with that team, and then that's just the same thing. They could probably say the same thing for them, but I'm not saying that the Raiders are going to go next year and like win a championship or whatever. But I'm just saying, like the Patriots going into the season, no one's seen them go to the Super Bowl. I would have never thought.
No.
Never thought.
No, but I think the difference is, I think both of those teams are in weaker divisions overall, like way weaker divisions.
Yeah. That's true.
And then I think both those guys have quarterbacks that were more experienced, and I think both of those guys, just as pure prospects, they're better prospects than what we're going to have in Mendoza. Now, Cam Mendoza, is he a good prospect in his own right? Yeah, but I don't think I think if the draft was held today and Drake May and Mendoza were both there, I think Drake May goes number one. I think if the draft was held today, when Trevor Lawrence was coming out of Clemson, it was Trevor Lawrence and Fernando Mendoza. I think Fernando Mendoza goes number one. Add that to the fact that they also had NFL experience to kind of learn and grow from. I think that makes it. And then they both had Josh McDaniels. Say what you want about Josh McDaniels, he's one of the best offensive minds in the league, like top schemer. And people talk, what is he going to do without Tom Brady? Oh, it looks like he just led another top 5 offense to a Super Bowl. Oh, that's what he did without Tom Brady.
Well, offense has been playing well as of lately.
Yeah, the offense is like top 5, I want to say.
In the league? I don't know, man.
Ain't lately.
I'm just saying, I don't top offense? Patriots? I don't know, man. I gotta check that. But hey, if you haven't already, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, let's get to what's real, what's not. This is where we say a statement, we react to it, and let you know if it's real or it's not. So what's the what's real, what's not statement this week, Severe?
What's real, what's not is that the Raiders, if they were to hire, or when they consummate the hire of Clint Kubiak, this is the best hire that they've made at head coach since Gruden 1.0.
the best hire, I mean, it's so easy to say, oh, that's real. You know what I mean? Because they just hired the coach right now, so I know a lot of the excitement is high. But to me, I'll stand on this. I don't know if it's the best hire since Gruden, because the time will tell. But like I said earlier, I said, hey, this is the best process of finding a head coach. And even if Kubiak is not the guy, the process should not change. I think this should be the process of finding a head coach, finding a GM, anybody. Like, this should be the standard process, because the way they went about it was super thorough. They were able to talk to multiple candidates, and they were able to get, you know, ideas and different opinions about the roster. And eventually they landed on their guy.
Fact.
So I have no problem with the process. And this process should never change. And that's the problem with the Raiders. Over the years, you know, Mark Davis, you know, since he's been the owner, he's kind of been tweaking and experimenting and trying different things to see what works and what doesn't work. You know, he's a new owner with the team. Back in 2011 when he first took over, 2012 when he first took over after Al's passing. But
just so you had the numbers real quick. In terms of points per game, the Patriots were third in the league.
Oh, they're third in the league. That's surprising.
Third in the league in terms of points. Well, let me sort it. Let me sort it. No, second in points per game. They're second in the league in terms of points per game. They're third in the league in terms of yards per game. So yeah, Josh McDaniels, he can't do nothing without Tom Brady except what he just did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. Let me see here. In terms of yards, let's see.
Yards, they're third, and in points, there's
second. Wow. And I'm not gonna lie, looking at their offense, it's pretty disgusting. It's ugly. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just looking at it, who they have on offense. I know they got a Henderson guy, like, you know, I know you're high on him, but he's still rookie. He's still
he's not carrying the offense.
He's not carrying the offense.
Stevens is the number one back.
Man, no wonder Drake May had a MVP hype.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he probably gonna finish second in the voting behind Stafford.
I'm telling people, man, put some respect on Josh McDaniels' name. Like, in terms of coordinating offense, is he a leader? Is he leading the team? No, hell not. But can that man coach offense? Indeed.
No. I never doubted Josh McDaniel as an offense coordinator.
I say you did.
Yeah.
But Raider fans did. Raider fans still do.
Yeah.
And it's Tom Brady. Tom Brady made him. Okay. Well, now he just did it with Drake May.
Yeah.
And Kayshon Boutte and Mac Hollins and Stephon Diggs as the top three receivers.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not doubting him as an offensive coordinator. It's just Josh McDaniels, when you hear him, you're just disgusted because he should never sniff a head coaching job. Like, but, you know, I heard his boy Albert Breer, you know, kind of like, oh, well, you know, hey, he might be a possibility. They're trying to, like, slowly but surely rebuild it, but I don't know if he ever gets that job. Or he might be like that Norv Turner. Exactly. Who you know, Norv Turner was a guy that, like, you know, great OC, but not a great head coach, but he was a better coach than Josh.
Yeah.
You know,
stay away from it. Stay away from it.
Yeah, he's disgusting. But man, salute to everybody pulling up. Appreciate everybody coming through. But yeah, like I said, man, just to go back to what's real, what's now statement. You were saying that this is the best coaching hire since John Gruden, 1.0. The best hire since John Gruden 1.0. Oh, I mean, it's easy to say yes. It's easy to say it's real, just because we know what happened with every other coach. It didn't work out. But like I said, to me, this should be the process. It's the best process of finding a head coach. This is the best process of finding head coach. I've never seen them interview this many candidates, and from different from defensive candidates, from offensive candidates, from veteran coaches to young coaches. Like, they were pretty open-minded, from guys that were like never had, you know, coordinator experience, and Davis Webb, who they believed in. They loved his vision. But he probably might have been a little bit early if they would have made that hire. But finally they narrowed down the search down to Kubiak. They didn't just say, "Oh, we need to go after Kubiak." It's almost like a night and day difference to what happened last year. Last year was like, "Oh, we have to get Ben Johnson." And then they didn't have no backup plan, and then they hired a 75-year-old head coach in Pete Carroll. So I'm glad that they're learning from their mistake, and I'm glad that this is the process. Hopefully Kubiak is the guy, but even if Kubiak isn't the guy, I don't think this process should ever change. And that's what the Raiders need. They need processes that they can trust, that they can rinse and repeat, no matter what. I'm done with the let's experiment and try this. Let's do this. Let's try this. Because there's no stability with the team. That we're getting that this is one of the reasons why the Raiders have been bad for so long. There's no structure. There's no rhyme or reason. We're just trying to, a lot of it has something to do with Mark Davis trying different things, trying to make it work. But now, hopefully, with Brady in the building and Spy Tech, hopefully that changes. But to answer your question, I guess real. But for me, it's more about the process of finding the coach.
Yeah, agreed. I mean,
the process of finding a coach is the best. I've never seen it like this.
Yeah, but most of the time,
unless you want to bring up when Al interviewed Bill Belichick and John Gruden, and be like,
that's what I'm saying. It's the best since then. But I think when Reggie, in terms of process, I think Reggie McKenzie had an exhaustive process. Obviously, he landed on the wrong candidate, but he had a pretty exhaustive process.
Did he?
Yeah.
Who? I'm trying to remember who he interviewed. I never really.
He interviewed a bunch of people, and then he landed on Dennis Allen. Unfortunately, he interviewed a bunch of people. In terms of, the
Raiders job was not attractive at all. That was probably the worst. Yeah. You have no first round pick. You have no cap space. You're basically guaranteed to show nothing your first year, and you have to have a smile on your face.
I think going into it, if you look at who would have been a better prospect as a hire, people don't want to hear it. Josh McDaniels was a better prospect as a head coach. I don't think he was ultimately. Obviously,
from time to time,
the failed first time, tenure in Denver. But I just think if you look at it just holistically with what he had accomplished in his career, he was much more accomplished than Clint Kubiak, who's, I think this is the first time he's finished with a top 10 offense as an offensive coordinator. So, and you can look at extenuating circumstances.
That's a good point.
That's what it is. So just as pure prospects, Josh McDaniels was a better prospect. Obviously, he came with his own personal warts.
Yeah.
But, we're hoping that Clint Kubiak has a much better trajectory than Josh had. Because obviously Josh had the Denver tenure that he never was asked about on his.
You know what? You and Chill Ray y'all bring up a very good point that I want to connect with. Because now that I think about it, you said the last time where the Raiders had like an extensive, exhaustive search was with McKenzie.
Yeah.
That was a GM-led search.
Yeah.
And what was this?
Yeah.
A GM,
Tom Brady and Spy Tech.
But it was a GM-led search. Tom Brady is a part-time, whatever you want to call him. Like he's gonna be in there in the main, like he's gonna be in their mentor. He's gonna be in there he's gonna be in there in some way. Like he's gonna find a way to be there. But a lot of this is Spy Tech led, where. Yeah. But it's just funny that when you have a GM-led search, they're interviewing multiple people. They're going through guys. They're talking to multiple people before they land on their guy. And I'm sure for Spy Tech, this is a big hire because he's only guaranteed one.
Fact.
If he doesn't get this right, who's to say that he'll have another opportunity? I mean, he's already been through one head coach already with Pete Carroll. No matter if it was his choice or not, which it wasn't his choice. We all kind of know that. You know what I mean? He was hired. But we all know that Pete Carroll was chosen before, it was an arranged marriage. So I just thought it was that's kind of interesting that like you brought up this McKenzie being the last time where they kind of interviewed a lot of candidates. but that was a GM-led search, and now Spytech, is obviously doing the same thing with the Raiders this year around. I think that this should be the standard. This shouldn't change. I think they should go about it this way. It shouldn't be, we're gonna pick a handful of candidates. Even the Raiders use like a firm, like some type of firm to help them narrow down a pool of candidates. Yeah. That didn't work out because it landed with Pete Carroll. So should never ever talk to that firm. They should
throw the job in Seattle.
Oh man, fire that firm. That firm maybe for Seattle it worked out, but hey, it just didn't work out with us. Maybe they had something against the Raiders. Maybe they owe something to Pete.
I think it was Corn Ferry or something like that.
Oh man, I had high hopes because they've been connected some good hires, but it is what it is. But man, so you're saying it's real?
No, I'm saying just as a prospect, no. He could be number 2.
No, but you said the best hire since John Gruden.
As a prospect, no. As a prospect, no. Even the process.
Who
process, I would give the process. I would give it the process. I would give it this number 1. I think it edges out McKenzie. The best prospect we hired was Josh McDaniels. People didn't like it, but he's the best prospect. Now you can disagree, but he was more accomplished. Obviously, he already had head coaching experience. It wasn't great experience, but he had head coaching experience. He had won. We had won with Tom Brady. He had won with Matt Castle. He had a top 5 defense or top 5 offense with Matt Castle as starter. He won 11 games with Matt Castle as a starting quarterback. So he's had 5 Super Bowls at the time. He was hired with us. So I think he was more accomplished. I think he was a better prospect. Raider fans obviously felt some kind of way about him because we didn't like him because he was a Patriots guy. But just in terms of accomplishments, the accomplishments were undeniable. People want to attach him to whoever they want to attach him to. But like I said, he's doing it now with Drake May. He did it with Matt Castle. He did it with Tom Brady. He did it when Jimmy G was a starter in New England. He did it with Jimmy G as well. So.
Yeah, no. In terms of resume and what he accomplished as a coordinator, for sure, 100%. He's won multiple Super Bowls, top offenses, had success with different quarterbacks. Because that was a question too. Cause like you said, was it Brady? Nah. Well, he did it with Castle. Oh, okay, he did it with who's now with the 49ers backup, where he had a good rookie season. I think, did he win Rookie of the Year?
Mac Jones.
Did he win Rookie of the Year?
I don't know if he won Rookie. He went to the Pro Bowl, which doesn't really mean anything. I don't think he won Rookie of the Year. Oh,
man, that Pro Bowl is disgusting.
It's trash. It's trash now. Pro Bowl don't mean anything.
Bro, Shador made it to the Pro Bowl, bro. Shador
over Trevor Lawrence, who got MVP votes. Trevor Lawrence got MVP votes, and Shador made it over him, which is ridiculous. But
come on, bro. That was... I don't know what's going on.
Popularity contest.
Yeah, man. It's I know Shador has a huge following, so I'm sure they probably want to get eyes or whatever. But
yeah,
but that was strange.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's a popularity contest.
But what happened, bro? The Pro Bowl. I know Albert Breer said the other day, since the Pro Bowl became, I forgot what they were trying to since they changed the event and from Hawaii, it used to be an event in Hawaii where players used to gather, and there used to be a lot of guys used to always gather up, and I don't know, man. The Pro Bowl has not been the same for years. Maybe it's because it's not in Hawaii no more, and players don't look at it as a destination to go and visit and have a good time. And man, that was terrible. It's terrible, man. That's actually notable. That should probably been a flag on the play candidate right there.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that.
That's a flag on the play candidate, man. That was ugly. That was ugly, man. But man, hey, great show. We appreciate everybody coming through. The conversation will continue around the Shield later this week on around the Shield. So hopefully, you know what, we're gonna try to see if we can get the phone lines going this Thursday, or we'll have a guest for y'all. Yeah, right away. It's flag. It's terrible, man. Pro Bowl. We'll just say the Pro Bowl is a flag. The whole Pro Bowl. What are they doing? What is the NFL doing? But yeah, shout out to everybody pulling up on the way out, man. Clack out at this point. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Anybody watching the replay, obviously leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts and hype the video too. Once this is all posted, you guys might have an opportunity to hype the video. Make sure to go ahead and do that. Severe, let the people know what they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
I mean, y'all know what it is, man. The Severe Raider everywhere. Holla at your boy, man. Hit us up Sundays and Wednesdays. Raider War Room Tuesdays and Thursdays. 50-50 show and around the show, man. Tap in with your boy.
Yes, sir. You can find me PharoahNFL all over social media, especially on YouTube. Definitely subscribe. Follow me on IG, on X, and also follow Around the Shield on X and IG. And we'll be back later this week on Around the Shield this Thursday. Tune in. We'll open up the lines. If not, obviously have a guest so we continue the conversation, man. There's going to be a lot to talk about. Hopefully we'll hear some news about, hey, maybe I think staff hires, we probably won't hear anything until like maybe next week. Rumblings, man. So we'll see, man. Appreciate everybody pulling up, man. Great show, great conversation, man. We'll appreciate y'all. And any last thoughts before we head out, Severe?
Yeah, man. We'll see who wins the Super Bowl, man. We'll probably do some predictions on Thursday.
All right, for sure. All right, y'all. Peace.
Right.